Hello to all of you wonderful moms out there. This is episode 38 of the Solve for Mom podcast, the show where you can figure out how to get back to being who you want to be instead of just who you need to be. I'm your host, Anoki Kapasi. Have you ever felt like you're constantly reinventing the wheel, spending precious hours recreating the same documents, schedules, and plans all over again? You know there must be a better way to manage your time while staying consistent in both your business and your family life. Today, I'm going to talk about a game changer that high-achieving moms are using successfully to reclaim their time and mental energy. We're diving deep into the world of templates, but not just any templates. You're probably used to the templates that you use at work and in your businesses. Well, I'm going to be talking about strategic, customizable frameworks that can transform how you manage your small day-to-day tasks in your personal life. I'm going to share the creative ways that I've been able to use templates in my own mom life. So whether you're juggling client work or household management or pursuing a big passion, today's episode is going to show you exactly how to work smarter, not harder. Get ready to discover the template systems that will help you stay consistent without sacrificing precious family time. And grab your favorite planning tool because you're going to want to take notes on this one. Are you looking for a way to blend success and motherhood without losing sight of who you are? I get it. I've been there too. Hi, I'm Anoki, a PhD researcher, business owner, and homeschooling mom of 2 boys. As your life coach, I help moms like you create a life you love at home and at work. If you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed, overscheduled, and overlooked, and you want a clear roadmap to a balanced life, a meaningful career, and finally feeling like yourself again while still being the amazing mama that you are, you're in the right place. In this complex equation we call life, it's time to sharpen our pencils and our minds and solve for mom. Hi, this is a quick reminder to sign up for the free Solve for Mom Insiders newsletter. This is where I continue to share deep insights on how to keep up with your personal ambitions and find some independence towards these new skills that you're trying to build. I let you in behind the scenes of how I'm doing this with my fledgling business and even in my own family, how I'm maintaining family time while I get to pursue my various goals and passion projects. It is jam-packed with personal growth tips, journal prompts, resources, and opportunities to interact. Very soon, when you sign up, you will be the first to know about some special offers. So if you love the Solve for Mom podcast, you will not want to miss out on this newsletter, which shows up in your inbox only twice a month. So don't miss out. Check the link in the show notes below and sign up now. Well, on that note, let's get back to the show. Maybe you're in that phase where you're juggling multiple projects and feeling scattered. Or perhaps you've got your basic systems in place, but you know that they could be more efficient. Well, either way, you're probably ready to stop spending precious time on tasks that could be streamlined. I think this hits home for so many moms that I work with. They come to me exhausted. They're drowning in their day-to-day. My job is to help them make choices that I know won't drain them so that they can start feeling more like themselves again. They know that there's a better way to organize everything, whether it's their goals or their time and schedules, or even a major transition in their lives or their careers. I get to show them high-performance strategies and why templates are such a crucial tool for busy moms and how to set them up as well. So whether you're managing that client work and you're organizing family schedules, or you're trying to build consistent routines, the struggle to stay organized while saving time is real. What I want to focus on today is how you can use these templates in your everyday life, the part of you where you're being a mom, your family time. I don't think anyone else talks about this because mostly templates are used in a way to become more productive, often at work. I want to show you how using templates can be a big step towards optimizing your day, whether you're a working mom or a stay-at-home mom. So now let's dive into what templates really are and how they can transform your daily life as a high-achieving, busy mom. Remember, the key is going to be to think outside the box and use these templates in unexpected areas of your life. They're not just for business tasks. First, what exactly is a template? A template is essentially anything that has a preset format, and you use it as a starting point, and it allows you to sort of create things with consistency and efficiency. It's kind of like having a pattern to work off of. So templates can be pre-designed, let's say documents or checklists, scripts, or even planners. You can reuse them over and over again without starting from scratch each time. So think of it like having a blueprint that you can use repeatedly, and it can serve as a shortcut, basically for your brain. But they're not rigid, right? you're still able to adjust them for whatever the particular specifics of your task is. A template is going to give you a solid starting point so that you can save time. You're going to reduce that mental load and stay consistent. Okay, let me break this down for where you can use templates in your life. You're probably already using them in your business. So think email templates and document outlines or workflows and task management systems. You can also use them at home as part of your home management system. So calendar templates, meal planning formats, and weekly chore schedules. You can use them for your personal growth, habit tracking sheets, note-taking apps, all kinds of things like that. And even for your hobbies. Whether it's your workout routines or traveling checklists, or even sewing and cross-stitching templates that you use for patterns. Really, there's an endless opportunity to use templates, and you're probably already using them, whether you realize it or not. Templates are a real game changer, whether you're a work-at-home mom or a stay-at-home mom. As moms, we're often running a household and a business, or a side hustle, or homeschooling, and so we're constantly switching gears. Well, templates are going to help us speed up all those repetitive tasks like emails and meal planning or content creation. They're going to cut down the decision fatigue so there's no more reinventing the wheel. You can stay focused and organized with templates, especially when your work hours are super scattered. But that's true for your personal schedule as well. And templates are the major tool for creating consistency in how you show up, both for your family and for your business. Now that you know what a template is and why it's useful, here's some clear signs that a template might be good to use here, especially if you find yourself juggling a million tasks at the same time. So the first clear sign is if you're finding yourself repeating the same task over and over, like writing the same type of email or planning the same kind of lessons or even creating the same kind of to-do lists. Those are perfect examples of where a template could be useful. One example in my own life is that I have a travel planner and packing list template. So anytime we have to go on a trip, I follow the same series of steps in order to plan out and book and reserve everything that we need for our trips. I also have a personal packing list that I adapted over time to include things to pack for my kids. It incorporates every single thing that I could ever need to pack, and then I adjust it based on where I'm traveling to, whether it's a warm place or a cold place, or whether I'm going for 2 days or going for multiple weeks. The items I bring are going to change accordingly, but I have the base template, and that way I don't have to rethink over and over what I am going to need for each trip, and the chances of me forgetting something are very low. Some other clear signs are if you find yourself wasting time just on the setup part, like the setup takes longer than actually finishing the task. For example, formatting a document or opening up multiple tabs every time you have to start a project. And another sign is if you just feel mentally exhausted by having to make decisions over and over. I mean, decision fatigue is so common with us moms. Templates is such a great tool to combat that. Sometimes the simplest task can be so mentally draining because it's a series of tiny little decisions that you have to make over and over. And so basically a template reduces that what do I do next kind of stress. So one example for this is with meal planning and grocery shopping. I really don't like doing either of those tasks, but I'm really lucky because my husband often takes over those tasks. However, I do prepare for the event that I have to do all of that. And so I have a meal planning template and a grocery list that's linked to my weekly meal plan. So a couple of years ago, I created a meal planning template. It basically covers all the days of a month. And so I've designated a meal for every meal of the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner over the course of 31 days or so. I basically repeat that every month, so it just cycles over. And so for each week's worth of meals, I've linked it to my grocery list so that I know for any given week 1 of a month, I have certain meals that are to be prepared, and I will make sure that I have done all the grocery shopping in order to prepare those meals. Because cooking and grocery shopping are 2 tasks that I really don't like to do, this is sort of my plug and play template that gives me structure and momentum, especially for this task that is so hard for me to get started on. When you have a task that you want to delegate to somebody else, you're going to need a very clear and consistent way of communicating your particular process. So you can think of a template as basically an instant delegation guide. That template, which can serve as that guide, is your way of communicating your process. And that way, when they're doing the task, you don't have to worry that it's not going to be done up to your standards. A template is going to make it a very easy way to hand off a task to somebody else. And as I just said, templates are a great way for you to be more consistent. So if you're intentionally trying to create consistency, let's say your brand voice in your business, or creating a homeschooling rhythm, or your family routines, templates are going to be a go-to tool for you to repeat what works and also to really kind of ditch what doesn't. So one example is my home cleaning system. It's a super simple system that I use. I have a cleaning schedule of tasks that I need done daily, weekly, and monthly. And I don't outsource any of the cleaning to hired help. And the reason I can maintain my home with total confidence is because I have this template that allows me to consistently clean different parts of the house on a regular frequency so that each part of the house is receiving enough attention and that overall the house can stay clean. This is how I can make sure that the bathrooms and toilets are getting cleaned at a consistent frequency, which is totally different than how often I would need the baseboards cleaned or the ceiling fans cleaned, and in a way that nothing gets overlooked or forgotten. And a pro tip is if there's a task that you're kind of dreading or you should do, and it's not really like your favorite thing to do, like I was talking about earlier with meal planning and cooking, templates are a really great way to overcome that resistance. Especially if it's something that you should do, but you don't have a lot of clarity on what to do yet. By developing a template, you're kind of fleshing things out. The templates remove that mental friction and it kind of makes the task feel a little more doable. So I actually do this with our homeschooling curriculum. We don't actually adhere for most subjects to any one particular curriculum. And so what I do is that I know that there's a ton of things that I want to teach and I want to expose my kids to, but with all those subjects and all those field trips and really creative things that we can do, and then 2 kids, it kind of just is all swirling in my head. And I doubt I'm going to remember what I want to do when the time comes. Instead of just winging it, I actually spend 1 week in the summer where I dedicate that whole week just to plan out our entire homeschooling year. I do this for both kids. I kind of take one subject at a time. And I really flesh things out and then break it down month by month and then week by week for each subject. And then even within the weeks, I kind of carve out what I think I can handle per day. And the template basically reveals patterns that you can see on a week-to-week basis. Certain number of field trips that we'll take, certain number of writing assignments. And what it does is by the time the school year starts out, I feel so much better positioned and much more confident about starting the school year. It's almost as if I have had the whole year scripted out and all I have to do is push start and follow the instructions from the template. So in short, if it's repeatable or something that's draining your energy and sucking up your time or slowing you down, you can probably template it. Now here's how to create a template and implement it very effectively. First, you want to notice what you repeat. Start with what you need and identify your most repetitive tasks. And then anytime you find yourself doing something more than once, remember that's your sign that you need a template. Then the next step is to write out the steps or the structure of the thing that you're trying to do. You want to keep it simple, especially in the beginning, and just start with a really basic format. I like to call it a skeleton. For example, if you're writing the same welcome email to a client, you're going to jot down the different parts, right? You have your greeting and your thank yous, what to expect, and then what the next steps are, and then a sign off. That's going to be the same from client to client. What's going to change are the specifics of your conversation with that client or any other particulars. The third step is then to leave blanks for what you need to change from task to task or person to person. The whole point is to make these templates customizable to fit your specific needs. So you're going to add placeholders. So using that client email example, you would put in a placeholder in brackets, let's say, that says client name, basically as a way to easily fill it in later. Then the fourth thing is to determine how often you're going to use it and set that frequency. The fifth thing is to decide under what conditions you're going to implement that template. The sixth thing is to save and reuse. So you want to store the templates in a place that you can first easily find. Maybe it's a digital file that you're going to have in a specific folder on your hard drive. Or maybe it is a part of a workflow. So for me, I use Notion as my task management system. Or maybe it's just a checklist or to-do list that you happen to do every week and you've written it out in your planner. And then the last thing, the seventh thing, is to tweak it as you go, because your first version isn't going to be perfect. Like my travel planner and packing list has evolved over time. It started off very basic, and as I started using it, I started adding more and enhancing it. And like I said, once I had kids, then I completely added a whole new section that involved all the stuff that I needed for my kids. And actually, once my kids grew out of their baby phase and into more kid phase, I actually stopped having to plan to bring things that a baby would need, like baby bottles or a baby carrier. And I stopped having to plan the trip so that I could accommodate babies. So, for example, making sure I had a hotel room that had a fridge for milk or a crib for my baby to sleep in. Every time you use your template, you're going to find a way to refine it and make it even smoother. But really, my advice would be to start small. Start with one template if you haven't been using them before. And even that, start basic. Just put in what you think you're going to need as the essentials. And as you start using it, you can start tweaking it. So I already shared a couple of examples of how I use templates, and you probably even use some version of those already. Now I want to share 5 creative areas that I use templates in my busy mom life. And I think you're going to find them useful whether you work at home or work outside or are a stay-at-home mom. So the first kind of template is a tradition planning template. In the last couple of years, I've really been on a mission to create great family traditions. I want my kids to grow up and remember all these really wonderful, warm things that we used to do as a family together. And so I actually, first of all, see traditions as a template because really what are traditions? They are an opportunity for us to consistently connect with each other, create memories and celebrate together, and have these special moments that we can repeat, whether it's annually or seasonally. So it's not necessarily that you have to have this sort of formulaic template that every tradition must follow. What I'm trying to say is that by creating a tradition and repeating it year after year or seasonally, you in essence have created a template for your family to have special moments and opportunities for connection. Not only does it release the mental load of having to be creative on the spot or just in the days leading up to a particular special occasion. By having the template, I've planned these things out way in advance. But also, it's essentially saved me a lot of time and decision making because I don't have to wonder, how are we going to spend this particular day? What am I going to have to make? What do I need for it? All of these things are kind of fleshed out already. Another way I use a template is, and I know it sounds a little corny, but as a friend check-in template. I have friends from so many different areas of my life. I learned early on that I love meeting new people, but I have the hardest time being consistent in keeping in touch with friends. It's really sad when I'm not able to maintain my friendships just because I might be in a busy season of my life, whether it's because of parenting or at work. So what I've started to do is I have a long list of my friends that are, local and driving distance so I can realistically and logistically meet up with them. And I have on my calendar things that I like to do. Like I enjoy going to cafes and drinking coffee. I like walks, hikes, runs. I like taking classes or having potlucks and dinner parties or even play dates for my kids where I too then get to meet up with my mom friends. So after figuring out how I'd like to spend my time, I then go down my list and I figure out which friends I can meet up with while doing those things. Now, some of my friends just become my consistent friend that I go run with, for example, or that I tend to meet up at a cafe. But for other things, like one-off things such as taking a fun class, I can scan my list and connect with somebody that I haven't seen in a while, or that I know likes being adventurous and will do something fun like that with me. So it's really as simple as having a handful of things that I like to intersperse in my busy work and parenting schedule, things that I would have loved to do just for myself anyways, and then having a list of my friends and then combining the two. I've talked about this template before, but it is my jewelry capsule. So I love jewelry, but it ends up taking me a lot of time making all these little decisions in the morning of what to wear and what makeup to put on and what jewelry to wear. And so I talked about in a previous episode how I've really put on this minimalist mindset and dwindled my morning routine down to some very basic essentials. But one of the things that saved me a lot of time and decision making is having a jewelry capsule that I select out a bangle or a ring, a necklace, and a pair of earrings that I just use for an entire month. And I wear that every day. And then I have another capsule that I will switch to for the following month. And essentially, I have 12 different capsules that I rotate through during the year, one for each month of the year. And that way, I never have to wonder what jewelry I need to wear for that day. But that small little detail of having those accessories makes me feel so put together and not like a mom that's constantly wiping boogies off of a kid's face. Another fun template I use is having family nights. So we used to do this thing called Special Day, which you've probably already heard of. But we sort of phased out of that because now our kids are a little older, and instead of having individual time with them, which we would do at night, and it was causing a little bit of friction for the child that wasn't getting the attention, we sort of combined them both together and try to do a fun night. What happens is each kid gets to stay up an extra half hour, and we plan something fun to do as a special treat. We'll have a special meal, and then we'll have a special activity or game, something that is not related to screens. It keeps changing, but for a while we were on a regular schedule where we would choose one day of the month that was the date of one of my son's birthdays, and then the other day of the month, which was the number date for my other son's birthday. That way we would predictably have these sort of fun family nights. And with the template, we managed to follow the similar flow each time. And so while it's a half an hour that we do intentionally dedicate to be together as a family, as a special treat on a school night, all of the time for planning and setup and scheduling is completely taken out by having this template in place. And the last one, which I've only just now recently started because I started to feel like I was confusing who I was getting gifts for, and that I might actually have repeated a gift 2 years in a row for someone, but now I have a template for birthday gifts for my kids' friends. It essentially keeps track of birthday parties that we're invited to, who the child is, and what gifts we're giving them, and approximately the budget that we spent. I also keep track of what they have been giving my kids in return, and that way it kind of avoids last-minute scrambles. I'm not repeating gifts or forgetting gifts. And like I said, this is my newest template, and I haven't put it into action in full force, but I'm sure it's going to evolve and change over time as well. So remember, ladies, templates really are a secret weapon for staying consistent and reclaiming your precious time. They're going to give you more time for what actually matters, whether that's making sales or homeschooling or snuggling with your kids on the couch. This is what we cover today. Templates are reusable starting points that create patterns for consistency and efficiency. They're going to help you cut down decision fatigue, speed up repetitive tasks, and stay focused while juggling your many responsibilities. Look for template opportunities when you repeat tasks a lot and you find yourself wasting time, maybe even in the setup phase, or you feel mentally drained by all the decisions you have to make. In order to make a template, you want to 1, notice what you repeat, 2, write out the steps or create that skeleton I was talking about, 3, leave blanks for what you think is going to change from use to use, 4, determine how often you're going to use it, and 5, under what conditions you need to use it. 6, save it and make sure it's reusable and you can find it when you need it. And 7, refine it as you go. Now, I want to give you a little bit of homework for this week. Pick just one repetitive task that's been draining your energy. Create a very simple template for it. Just start small. Share your template win with me if you can. I'd love to hear how much time you saved. You can find my contact information in the show notes. And I actually read every email I get, and I will reply to you. So I hope to hear from you. Remember, you are not just saving time, you're creating space for what truly matters, whether that's growing your business or homeschooling your kids or finally having a moment to just relax on the couch. One more thing before I go. I loved sharing these time-saving template strategies with you today. So if you're ready to take this to the next level and create systems that truly work for your unique life, I'd love to help. In my Balanced Mom Coaching Program, we're going to develop customized templates and routines that match your specific goals and your schedule. I offer a complimentary first call where we get you started with a self-discovery assessment. And I'm going to personally review your results and provide tailored insights. And I know that you are so busy juggling everything, whether it's work meetings or school pickups or both. I have found so many different creative ways of making my coaching fit with your busy life. I have done coaching sessions where clients have been in cars or even on their morning walks. book your free call using the link in the show notes, and let's chat about turning these time-saving strategies into a lifestyle that works for you, and so that you can have a more meaningful life, a life where you can create impact and still be aligned with who you are. So until next time, keep solving for you, Mama. I hope today's episode will help you create time and freedom to pursue something you love to do. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe and tell other ambitious mamas about it. Who knows, you might even make a new friend by sharing a tip. It's all free. By the way, it would be amazing to hear what you think about the show when you leave a review. After all, my passion is to make this a great experience for you. Thank you for making my show a part of your day. I'll see you next week for another episode of the Solve for Mom podcast with Anoki Kapasi.